Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Chatting Pitch. And this is a podcast not just of me. My name is Leslie.
Also of me. Sorry, Leslie, I cut you off there. Not a great start.
Cut me off. No. But this is the kind of crazy dynamic that we have, you know. We just keep cutting each other off like we're in a big freeway, highway, motorway. One of those ways. Exactly. So, without further ado... great start to the very first episode. Hey, Matt, do you like movies?
Hi, Leslie. You know what? I don't like movies. I love movies.
Oh, great. Doing a bit of a Simon Cowell from X Factor there, where he tricks the audience. He's a bit of a trickster. And he goes like, hey, I didn't like it. And everyone's like, boo. And he goes, I love it. And everyone goes, whoa!
Is that what the audience are like?
Yeah. And then they go, whoa! Crazy.
Not even a boo. Not even a boo.
They're just
you think so little of the X Factor audience and the Britain's Got Talent audience. You think so little of them that they can't get a boo out. It's just a boo.
Well, of course I do. It's a pile of trash.
Oh, okay.
Hey, there have been some great talent on Britain's Got Talent, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about talent in the movies, in the TV shows, on the silver screen. That's what we're talking about. And why are we talking about that? Well, I think the name of the podcast speaks for itself. We're chatting pitches of movies that don't exist but kind of exist. Does that make sense, Matt?
Kind of does, I guess. I mean, we can explain it further for those people who watch the X Factor and just sit there and go, boo. But no, I feel like that was fine. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about, you know, movie pitches for movies that don't exist, or, you know, today we're going to be combining, you know, different movie characters that wouldn't necessarily meet. So we're just talking ideas, you know. We're ideas guys.
Yeah.
That's who we are.
If we kind of think of a scenario, say, for instance, what if this movie had this actor in it? Or what if this movie was a different genre? These are the kind of crazy things that... I don't know why I'm speaking like this. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm trying to put some sort of character on, but, you know, trying to keep the audience engaged. Because if they're not engaged, you might as well just be sleeping, you know? Like I do every night.
If we've got some good ideas, we could just explain those. Or we could leave it up to the audience to suggest ideas. So feel free to... leave comments and things like that if you've got any ideas for along the sort of lines that we are doing today. So what is it that we are doing today, Leslie? What was the idea that you came up with?
Today, I have a great idea. And it is to put a character from another movie into an existing movie and see how that would play out. And the movie that I've picked is Castaway.
See, I was surprised when you chose that movie, Leslie Way. You can see the shock on my face.
Whoa!
I didn't know you were such a huge fan of Castaway. What is it that really drags you to it? You know.
Well, I'll tell you after the jingle. Episode 1. So if you didn't know already, and depending on when this gets released, and I'm hoping it gets released pretty soon, we are recording this during the COVID-19 pandemic, and it's not the best of times. It definitely isn't the bestest of times either. It is the worst of times. It is the blurst of times. Anyone who gets that reference gets a gold star. As we were talking about, you asked me, why would I be so interested in Castaway that I would want to make this whole episode dedicated to it? Well, I'll tell you why. I grew up watching Castaway. I specifically remember watching it at the age of 12, I believe. And it was on Sky Movies. Remember Sky Movies?
I remember Sky Movies way back when.
Way back when I was 12. So I remember watching it on my sofa by myself. And it was the first time I ever saw it. And I think I cried during that one scene. And spoilers, if no one has seen it before, I was quite a youngin, 12, still not quite there, not quite a teen yet, still a child in many ways. And there was that moment when Wilson, the volleyball, just gets drifted away at sea, and I couldn't help but tear up and just thought, this is the saddest thing I've ever seen.
So is this like how some people remember maybe when they were a bit younger? For me, it's when Mufasa dies in Lion King. So this is like your equivalent.
Yeah. When I watched Lion King, I don't think I died during that Mufasa scene. Sorry, what did I say?
Died.
I died. No,
I don't think you died.
No, I'm pretty sure I was still alive. I mean, I don't think I cried during that scene. In fact, there are many cartoons that I don't.
In fact,
remember
you
crying.
celebrated. I remember you celebrated. You were very happy when Mufasa died, because you were like, "This Scar guy's got some good ideas.
He does
revolutionary ideas. Bring in the hyenas." You know,
I don't want to get political,
got?
mate. I don't want to get political. He's what would you say? Is Scar? No, I don't want to get into it. No, it's too much. not right now.
Are we trying to establish if Scar is a liberal or a conservative?
Yeah, a Democrat or a Republican.
I mean, they all just want to be king. So I guess they're all the same. They just want to be king, don't they? They just can't wait to be king. That's the name of the song. Anyway, go on. We were talking about Wilson floating away. That is a very, very sad scene. I remember the first time I watched that.
But I also just had a really fondness towards the whole feeling of the movie. I quite liked that there was hardly any dialogue when Tom Hanks had drifted. How do you say? Drifted on shore? Drifted ashore?
Right, yeah, drifted ashore, yeah.
Drifted ashore, yeah. Onto this remote island. And he has to find his way through doing all sorts of things, like, for instance, opening up packages and trying to survive off crab meat or fishing. He had to try and learn how to fish. But he hasn't got anyone to talk to, but the only person that he gets to talk to is a volleyball that he opened up in a box. And that is why us, the audience, has such an emotional attachment to this, because Tom Hanks has nobody else. All he has is this volleyball, and then towards the end he tries to go back to his wife. His wife's remarried to another man, has children, and he's like, but I came all the way back for you because I work for FedEx, and that was
and we deliver
deliver.
What was it ever revealed what was in that mystery package?
No, it was a mystery through and through.
I wonder what it was. A mystery book. It was a mystery book. And Tom Hanks, if he'd opened it, he would have had hours to just read the mystery book. Maybe not get so bored. Maybe not create a volleyball friend. Anyway, I've gone off track. But like FedEx.
And that's something about us. We do go off track a lot. And that's just something you're going to have to get used to. So suck it up.
Get used to it, baby. Get used to it. No one's going to stop us. Unless enough people say in the comments we shouldn't.
That's true. And I don't really know where these comments are coming from, but I think we're probably going to be talking about YouTube comments or Twitter comments. If you haven't already, you could subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Twitter. But enough of that. Let's get on with the business. And that is making up a story.
So who are we going to put into Castaway first? I'm guessing we're going from when Tom Hanks is on the island.
Yeah, so I don't know if I told you this, but I can tell you exactly what are in those boxes that get washed ashore from that FedEx crash. You remember when the plane crashes and then suddenly he gets a bunch of boxes and he has to open them up? Did I tell you about this? Like I can recite every single box from memory.
How many are there? I thought there were just loads. What, you remember every single one?
There weren't that many that washed up on shore for Tom Hanks to open.
Right.
The only one he didn't open was that one he delivered at the very end.
The mystery box.
From what I do remember, the mystery box. And from what I do remember is that he opens up. One of the boxes is a bunch of VHS tapes. So he has a plastic casing with the tape inside. So he's able to use that tape for making rope, you see. Oh, very clever, very clever.
Oh, yeah, he puts like a ninja thing around his head. And then he becomes invisible.
and then he starts like doing karate chops around palm trees to get the coconuts down.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know, we were joking. That doesn't actually happen in the movie. But you don't know. Sometimes people don't know these things. We have to kind of spell it out for them because one thing you have to know about Matt is that his humour sometimes is incredibly dry. So you don't know if he's telling the truth or not.
I'm just saying how I remember the movie, Leslie. I mean, obviously, I'm not as much of an expert as you, but
are you sure you weren't watching Three Ninjas in New York featuring Hulk Hogan?
It does sound like some Hulk Hogan, James Belushi, but what else has he got?
Tom Hanks, Go Rogue.
Oh, what a movie that would be! James Belushi, Hulk Hogan, and Academy Award winner Tom Hanks. That's another episode. That. So
the other, I can see you smirking on the other end.
I'm just trying to think of what that movie would be. Academy Award winner Tom Hanks, 5-time WWF World Champion Hulk Hogan.
In his prime, like back in the 80s, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Tom
or
Hanks
now.
Is around then. Yeah, we could do now.
So yeah, the other things that are in the boxes are he's got this dress, and the dress at first seems pretty useless, but the bottom half of it is kind of like fishnet lace kind of material.
And so he likes how that feels, so he puts it on, and then in the mirror he talks to himself, so he's got someone to talk to.
Yeah, because most remote islands have mirrors, you see.
I remember these... Well, fortunately, there was a mirror being delivered as well, just a big flat package.
Yeah.
And it was just a mirror. Don't know why. So people could look at themselves, I guess. Anyway, next package.
Please let me finish my package story. There is another thing that was a... so he got a bunch of divorce papers, I believe. It was an envelope.
And he's wearing the dress, and he's looking at himself in the mirror, and he's like, I want a divorce. And then he gets out of the dress, and he's Tom Hanks again. And he's like, but I love you. And he puts the dress back on. It's like that scene from Bronson where he's got half the face paint and he's talking to himself. Sort of like that, but Tom Hanks. Next package.
Jesus Christ.
So he gets a package with loads of divorce papers.
Yeah, he gets a package with loads of divorce papers, and he uses it to make fire. Because paper's quite burnable, you see. And then the next package, obviously he gets a volleyball, but the volleyball also came with a card, and the card inside said something like, I think I have to paraphrase here, I don't know exactly what it said on the card, but it was like, happy birthday, to Johnny, or something like that. Happy birthday, score, or something like that. Score,
right.
Exclamation mark. Your grandpa, or something like that. I think it's like score your grandpa, or something.
Right.
And then he also gets ice skates, and he uses that. Obviously because most ninjas ice skate as well. So
he uses them. He uses them as handholds, so he climbs up a tree using the blades
to defeat the dragon.
Yeah, and he wears the rest of the ice skate. Because they're fashionable. They go well with the dress.
Fantastic. And then I remember that I think there's one more thing. Was there one more thing? I felt like there was one more thing. I think that could be it, to be honest.
He uses a lot of it to build the raft as well, doesn't he? And I can't remember...
the thing is, the raft, he does two rafts, okay? There are two parts to this raft scenario. The first raft was made of wood, and he tries to kind of... No. The first raft was made of the rubber dinghy that he got washed ashore on, and he tried to go over this wave, you see, but the wave, the current was too strong, the waves were too high, and he gets knocked over, and then the rubber dinghy pops, and then has a hole in it, deflates, and then he gets a rock stuck into his thigh, and then it gets infected, and he's like, I can't leave the island now. 4 years later, there's a part of a porta potty gets washed up on shore, and then he decides to turn that into a sail to cut through the wave. You see.
Oh yeah, I remember, because there's that big moment, isn't there, where he opens it up and it's got the angel wings on and everything.
And I remember there's this one moment where he's in the cave, he's sleeping, and Wilson's just over on the other end. He's grown hair now, and you start hearing this crashing in the waves, like this metal crashing, part of the porta potty, and then he just goes, "Shut up!" to Wilson, because he thinks Wilson's doing that noise, and then he realizes, oh no, it's not Wilson. So he goes running down to the shore and looks at this thing. He's a bit scared because he thinks it could be, like, maybe there's somebody in there he doesn't know. And then he opens it up, and then he reads it, and he goes, "Bakersfield," and then looks over to Wilson, and he starts jumping and screaming, going, "Bakersfield!"
Whoa!
Whoa! Yeah. And
inside the porta potty it says, "To Johnny, score from Grandpa."
Your grandpa. It might not be Johnny. It could be someone else, actually. It could be another name. But from my memory, I feel like it's Johnny. It might be somebody else. But
Johnny, Lisa.
Johnny, be good.
Could be anyone.
I think we should get on to the core topic of this episode, and that is, what if we threw another character into the mix?
Okay.
And this is one of our pitches that we're going to be giving you guys. So we're going to treat you, audience, as like the studio execs.
So if any of you who are listening happen to have $200 million and like the idea, leave us a like, and we'll send details. Anyway, Leslie, who are we going to drop in?
I'm talking to you, Joel Silver, producer of The Matrix.
Joel Silver, 69, whatever your real name is.
Who's your favourite producer? Who would you say?
I like a few Joel Silver movies. I'm a huge fan of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which was a Joel Silver. Yeah. Who would you go for?
Oh, I don't know. For some reason, the only producer that stuck to my mind was Joel Silver. What other producers are there out there?
Well, you got Jerry Bruckheimer, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
He's made a few good ones. Was he Con Air? Was that a Bruckheimer one? It seems like
I know he's a Pirates of the Caribbean guy, isn't he?
Yes.
I swear, because I remember seeing the burnt tree at the beginning of the movies. You know, the lightning strikes and the tree gets set alight.
I think a lot of 90s action movies. If it was a Michael Bay movie, I think
Con Air, Face Off, The Rock. I haven't seen The Rock, to be honest.
You haven't? I think it's just...
I've seen The Rock. I've actually seen The Rock in the flesh before.
Right.
Yeah, he walked past. I didn't get to say hi to him. But, it was. I got invited to the premiere of Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. No, I didn't. I went to... I got confused. I went and saw him at Rampage. Remember that movie he did, Rampage?
Right, with the giant gorilla.
The giant white gorilla. Anyway, we're doing that sidetracking thing again. Let's try and get back on track. So what we were going to do was try and put a random character from another movie into the scene of Tom Hanks, and I'm gonna say the scene when he washes up on shore.
Okay.
And he starts opening all the boxes. That's the kind of time I think would be great to introduce a new character.
Okay, I'm gonna go with completely at random the giant white gorilla from Rampage. Just drops down.
And then just eats Tom Hanks. And the rest of the movie is just the white gorilla just sitting there picking his teeth.
Or the rest of the movie is exactly the same, but instead of Tom Hanks, it's the white gorilla.
The same shots.
Yeah.
It's just him walking in the background.
Yeah.
So what happens when we go back out to sea? Does it just go to the sea and then Tom Hanks isn't there and the gorilla's still on the island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the gorilla does everything that Tom Hanks does as well.
Oh, I see.
The gorilla puts on the dress.
So the gorilla gets the porta potty and just goes, Bakersfield!
Whoa!
Or however gorillas sound. How do gorillas sound?
I don't know if they...
I mean, we've seen Planet of the Apes, haven't we? It's like Caesar. It's like, no. Yes. No. Bakersfield. Man, this has gone horribly awry.
Okay. Who would you drop in there?
I like the idea of dropping in an MCU character, you know? Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just going to completely at random here. Doctor Strange. Imagine that. What would that be like? He just opens up a portal and just says...
That was going to be my next question. How does he get there?
Yeah. He goes, hey, Tom Hanks, you don't know me. I don't know you. I don't know why I'm here, so I'm going to head off.
See you later. Does his hand thing.
Yeah. And then Tom Hanks is just standing there like, what just happened? And then the rest of the movie is just him doing the same thing.
Every day.
Yeah.
And then as Doctor Strange goes back through the portal, when the portal closes, it chops off a road sign from where Doctor Strange has just gone to. And the sign says, Bakersfield. And Tom Hanks is like, Bakersfield? Maybe we should drop, for sake of drama, we should maybe drop an MCU character in that doesn't have the ability to just solve Tom Hanks's problem. So we're picking a character who drops in there and is stuck with him.
Do we want to go with the obvious choice?
What would the obvious choice be?
Because who else in the MCU universe has been stuck in a situation before? I mean, he's the very first one. You know who I'm talking about?
And he's got the star power to match. He's got the star power to match Tom Hanks.
The Stark power.
The Stark power.
Yeah.
Of course, we're talking about Whiplash from Iron Man 2, played by Mickey Rourke.
He does have the Stark power. Does he have the Stark power? Like, he is...
He makes own star power. Where's my boy? Where's my boy?
I was almost going to go with Tony Stark's dad. Just put him in there.
Okay, just drop him in. He's half cut. He can't remember how he got there. Or Obadiah Stane, Jeff Bridges, just comes round the corner of a palm tree on the little scooter thing that he's got. What is it that he rides?
Oh, the Segway.
Yeah, he just comes round the corner of a palm tree on a Segway, like with a cigar.
And he's got this blue suit.
Yeah.
And then Tom Hanks is like trying his best to try and get off the island.
Yeah.
And then Obadiah starts shouting at Tom Hanks and says, Tony Stark was able to get off this island with a bunch of scraps. And Tom Hanks is like, well, I'm not Tony Stark. I've got Wilson though.
And suddenly Obadiah Stane is, yes, this Wilson. Intriguing. Actually, I don't know why Obadiah Stane
he's turned into Jeff Goldblum.
Suddenly played by Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
Oh, yes. He could make any film longer, couldn't he?
What if Tom Hanks was with Jeff Goldblum from Thor Ragnarok, the Grand Master?
The Grand Master in his finery.
Yeah, and his melting stick.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, the whole film is Jeff Goldblum coming up with plans to get off the island. And anytime Tom Hanks says something like, well, I think we should maybe do this. And he just picks up the melting stick and just stares at him. And then Tom Hanks just goes back to doing whatever he was told to do.
Well, I think all these movies would be incredible.
Oh, it could be a franchise. Tom Hanks gets stuck on a new island every time. Sorry, what were you saying?
But I think the best scenario that we could come up with is if we actually did have Tony Stark on the island. Say, for instance, he got out of that cave and he landed on that island and he's like, I don't know how to get off, but this handyman seems to be quite good. He's made a raft. He's fished fishes out of a net. I'm an inventor. You know, I make things. We should mash our brains together and try and get off this island. How, you say? Well, I wonder what's in that package. What's in that package, sir?
Because, Tony Stark would have no qualms about opening that mystery package.
No. Tom Hanks would be like, no, I'm a FedEx man, and I need to deliver to Bakersfield.
This package goes to Bill's house, and this one goes to Fred's house. But Tony Stark would have, he'd have no qualms. He would be thinking, the key to our survival might be in this box. So let's just open it up.
And I think the perfect scenario would be, if we're going to be introducing the MCU universe into this, then we can input MCU technology. And by that, I mean something like, I don't know, Pym particles? What?
What?
Because if you guys haven't seen Endgame before, or any Ant-Man movie, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen any of these movies, Pym particles are things that make you go very small, or if you reverse it, like, what's that crew called? Do you remember that song, Flip Reverse It? By Blazing Squad. Do you remember Blazing Squad?
Oh, God. I tried
Anyone
to
not from
forget.
the UK doesn't know, Blazing Squad were a very short-lived rap group with a bunch of lads from the UK.
Was that the one where they had like 35 members?
Yeah, something like that. They were trying to compete with So Solid Crew, I think.
Yeah.
They had the song called 21 Seconds, which is the perfect song to be singing when you're washing your hands. Do you know why it was called 21 Seconds? Because the producer of the album said, oh, we need a song that lasts 3 minutes and something, like 3 minutes and 20 seconds or something like that.
Right.
And then they divided that number up with the amount of members that they had and said, okay, each one gets like 21 seconds to rap. So they literally got out a calculator and then they made a number one hit. Yeah, so the Pym particles, if you flip reverse it, then you get to go really big as well. So what if Tony Stark injected himself
I
with
see
these
what you're
Pym
doing.
particles?
Inject the island with the particles and make the island really big. And then it covers
Or
all
if they do it the wrong way around, it just goes really small and then they all drown and die. And that's the end of the movie.
Or it's like a cartoon where it's like the size of a pin head and they're both stood on it and they're kind of like triangle shaped.
Mate, what would happen? Yes. Yeah. Sorry, he threw me off completely. What was I saying?
You know what I would do? I would chop a coconut in half and I would put the Pym particles on the half a coconut and just make a giant coconut raft.
Mate, that would be amazing. I mean, it would make more sense if one of them just made themselves really big, carried them off the island and then walked off, but it's nowhere near as fun as making a giant coconut raft.
Well, I suppose, it depends whichever person who leaves a comment quickest with the $200 million gets to decide, giant coconut raft or giant Tom Hanks.
Who's the smarter one, do you think? Tony Stark or Tom Hanks? I mean, Tom Hanks is like street smart, but Tony Stark is like intellectually smart, He might not be so street smart. Tom Hanks, he lived there for 4 years, but then he still didn't get off the island. So, just because he didn't open up the package. So maybe he isn't as smart as we think he is. Maybe
So
Tom Hanks is a big old dum-dum.
He's a survivor.
Stupid. Yeah.
Buh, buh. And there's Tony Stark. He's like using ping particles, and he's creating things out of CGI, and he's doing the floaty hand things. And Tom Hanks is just sitting there going, "Buh,
Bakersfield.
Yes, you've said Bakersfield 18 times now." Oh, and he just gets back on. So I would make Tom Hanks big. I don't know about you.
Yeah, make Tom Hanks big.
I want to see that.
He grabs Tony Stark, and then they get off the island, and bing, bing, bam, boom, bish, bash, bosh. They survive.
I have this shot in my head of just a close-up of Tom Hanks's eyes, and then his giant hand raising Tony Stark up and like Tony Stark is sat on like the palm of his hand or something, and he's like, "Okay, big guy, now we gotta go." You just hear like this really deep, echoey Bakersfield. And he's like, "Yeah, Bakersfield, let's get going, big guy."
Yeah, Bakersfield. You've said it like 100 times. We gotta go.
We've made Tom Hanks's character really dumb.
Where is Bakersfield?
I have no idea.
Oh, and then Tom Hanks takes them both to Bakersfield,
and then that's it.
And he delivers he delivers Tony Stark to the person who was in Bakersfield. The end. I think we've got ourselves a movie.
Yeah, I think we got ourselves a very high quality movie. Probably a few Academy Award nominations at the very least.
Yeah.
At the very least.
So, Jerry Bruckheimer or Joel Silver, if you guys want to snatch up this idea, give us a call on 555-55555. And we will definitely be interested in speaking to you guys about our fantastic movie.
What should we call it? Iron Away!
I don't know, I think Cast Man has legs.
Yeah, Cast Man.
Cast Man.
Okay, yeah. I can see the poster.
Iron Cast Man. No. Away Man.
To cast an Iron Man. Make it sound like highfalutin. Would you have a few sort of subtitles?
The
in there
island
as well?
that you cannot get off.
The island that you cannot get off. Subtitle featuring Tony Stark and the Bakersfield Man. Subtitle Redux.
Redux, yeah. I was just about to add Redux.
It's always re something. Revengeance.
Recut, the final cut.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that would be a good one. If we decided to do a Ridley Scott Blade Runner situation.
We have multiple cuts and you're not sure if Tom Hanks's character is a robot or not.
Bakersfield. Yeah, I know you're a replicant, Tom Hanks. But we gotta get off this island.
We gotta get to Bakersfield. Boop, 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 boop.
I think we've reached the end of the episode, mate.
Is this guy a replicant? Boop, 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 boop. I cannot get salt water in my circuits.
Happy birthday, Patty. Boop, 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 beep, beep, boop.
Happy birthday, Tony. Boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, boop.
Do you want to tell the audience what you're referencing there?
Rocky 4 is what I'm going for. With the great robot.
Have
you seen that? Sorry, go on.
Nothing, I just said the great.
That could be another subtitle that we add.
Yeah.
So, The Islands That You Cannot Get Off, featuring Tony Stark and the giant Bakersfield freak. Subtitle, Redux Recut. Subtitle, The Great.
Subtitle, The Final Cut.
Subtitle, The Final Cut. Subtitle, Part 2.
Subtitle, Chapter 1.
Part 2, Chapter 1. Subtitle, First Blood.
Subtitle, The Saga. I think we've got ourselves a movie title, mate.
We've got ourselves a movie title and a half.
If Joel Silver and Jerry Bruckheimer don't snatch this up quick, my God, it's in the zeitgeist now.
I mean, it's up in the air. You know, someone else could claim it before Jerry Bruckheimer or Joel Silver or Don Simpson or anyone else. You know,
Don Simpson.
Yeah, he's another producer guy. He did some Jerry Bruckheimer co-productions.
I've heard of Don Davis, the guy who made the soundtrack to The Matrix. You know Don Davis?
I don't know Don Davis.
No? Do you remember the soundtrack to The Matrix? Not the electro cool techno stuff, but the orchestral score that goes meh, 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 and it goes ba 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 ba. You know that?
And then Keanu's like learning kung fu.
Was that Back to the Future?
And Morpheus is like, manure. I hate manure. And then he puts his sunglasses on. I remember that movie just as well as I remember Castaway.
Was that Back to the Future Part 3 you were talking about? The manure thing? Or was that Back to the Future 1?
He does it in
all of them,
doesn't he?
In all of them?
I think, it's a callback.
Because for some reason I just remember the manure scene from Back to the Future 3 when it's old-timey Biff.
Right.
And he gets thrown into the horse cart full of manure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does happen in every movie, doesn't it?
Yeah, because there's one after there's the tunnel chase where Marty's on the hoverboard, and then at the end of that he smashes his car. This is like 50s Biff, smashes his car into the truck, and then there's, is it part 1? Yeah, I think it's part 1 where no, I can't remember. I think it's part 2 where they have the giant Jaws thing.
Yeah, they have because they go into the future
and they have the hoverboard chase.
And then Michael J. Fox is like, shark still looks fake. Fruit, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. What a movie.
Anyway,
right, I think we should end this episode. So thanks for everyone listening to Chatting Pitch. I hope you enjoyed episode 1. Tune back in for episode 2 and follow us on Twitter and subscribe to us on YouTube. And don't forget to stay in tune to the stuff.
See, I'm not saying anything because I just wanted to see what you were going to do with that.
That was it. That's all I wanted to say. Anyway, thank you very much. I've been Leslie.
And I've been Matt. Thank you so much for listening. And we'll see you next time.
Okay. We won't be listening back to this, so if we said anything weird, that's on us.
Well, really, it's on them for listening, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
Sorry.
Sorry.
It's not our fault.